and welcome to Let's Talk with Lakshmee, a show about us, our people, our community, our culture, our experiences. And audience, today in the studio, we're privileged to have none other than Guyanese music composer, songwriter, and singer, Mr. Rory Jagdeo. Rory, welcome to Let's Talk with Lakshmee. Rory, tell us, where in Guyana exactly are you from?
I was born in Firish Village.
Firish Village.
Firish Village. You ever heard of Firish Village?
No, that's in Guyana?
It's in Guyana.
Okay, where is that?
Actually, Firish Village is about a mile and a half or so from Albion.
Okay.
About 4 miles. Yeah, about 4 miles from Rose Hall.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's in Carnarvon, Berbice. Yeah. So that's where I'm from.
Okay.
I grew up until I was 19 years old. Then I left the country.
In Guyana.
Yeah.
Now, did you start your music in Guyana?
No, I as far as being in the music business or anything like that, no, it was never at that stage in my life.
Now, I did read something that at the age of 9, your dad purchased a harmonica and gave it to you?
Yeah. Actually, when I was about 9 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I remember my dad came home one night, and I think it was a Christmas Eve night, and there was this box with a harmonica, and it had a chain, so I put it around my neck, and so I kept running around blowing in and out of the harmonica, and so since I was 9 years up to today, I'm still playing the harmonica.
Now, I see tons of pictures with you with this harmonica around your neck, and you obviously blowing it in the picture. Now, is that how that started when you were 9, or?
No, that's recently in the
Okay.
last couple of years after I was living in Houston for a long time, and I get to appreciate the blues, and I just decided to, it'd be a great thing if I can play both, and so I started to fool around with the thing, and I was able to connect with playing the guitar and the harmonica together, and now I go around playing everywhere with my harmonica. It's attached to me.
Where is it? I don't see it.
Oh, I have some. I'll show it to you.
We'll bring it later when we ask you to play some music. Now, you mentioned the blues. Now, I found it very interesting that you are from Guyana, but your music is more worldly. From what I read, you play pop, blues. Tell us a little bit about the type of music that you play, Rory.
Yeah, the music I played or that I've composed are all original music. I tend to have a feel for the Western style of music, like the rock, the blues, the pop. Maybe it's because I don't know to speak Hindi or anything like that, so I never was able to sing Indian songs. And so I said, well, I'll do what I can do best. I just compose, the Western style music, and I had a feel for it.
Now, growing up in Guyana, you didn't listen to Indian music, or
Yeah.
explain how you got into the Western music?
Oh yeah, growing up, I used to go to Indian movies almost every week.
Okay.
I was so attached to Indian music or the movies. It was so emotional, and I used to go to the movies, and I can, I read the subtitles, right? And so there are times when I actually go to an Indian movie and practically cried.
Yeah, I mean, as an artist, I think most
Yeah.
artists do feel music.
Yeah, you feel it. But then when I was about 14, I saw the first rock movie. It was Woodstock, and
At 14.
yeah, around 14.
In Guyana.
In Guyana.
Okay.
It was, and everybody knows about Woodstock. Was the biggest rock event that happened in the world. It happened up in New York, where it was 3 days of peace, love, and music. Nobody goes home. Everybody was out there, and it was a couple of million people. And so they have a movie at the time that came out called Woodstock, and so I saw it, and I was so drawn to this music. And then there was another rock opera called Jesus Christ Superstar,
Okay.
and the lead singer was from the rock band Deep Purple. And I fell in love with this whole genre of this rock music, and gradually I started to phase away from the Indian music, and started to listen to this rock music.
Now, Rory, this is actually, I'll be honest with you, the first time that I've actually heard of a Guyanese person talking about genres of music like pop. And was it very popular back then with the Woodstock? And I mean, you yourself enjoyed the music and got into it, but was it popular? Other people in Guyana into this music, or?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I saw the movie. There was a movie theater at Albion, and that was where I saw the movie. And a couple of my friends, we went more than once to go to see that movie, and at the same time too, we heard of the Beatles and things like that. So we were aware of there was the Beatles out there.
Tell me about the story about the Beatles. I heard that when you were younger, in your teens, you had a little group, a band, and you guys considered yourself like the Guyanese Beatles?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Actually, there were four of us, named Val, Frenchie,
Okay.
Kylan. Frenchie's in Toronto, Kylan is in New Jersey. I don't know where Val is.
Okay.
And so we used to pretend we were the Beatles. And we used to make drums with cans and buckets, and we used to take plastic and stretch it around it. And we used to sit by the street corner, and we'd be playing the drums, and we had this old broken up guitar. And so we used to pretend like we were the Beatles, and we wish somebody could have, pick us up and guide us somewhere.
Did you ever try to play for shows or
Oh, no,
for family parties maybe?
No, we were boys who were running in the swamps and the jungle, and
Normal boys in Guyana.
yeah, we had no social grace whatsoever. Well, we don't even know how to talk to a girl. It was pathetic. We used to suffer.
Jumping in the trenches, swimming.
Yeah,
used to tease the girls.
Yeah, that is all we do. Is run in the swamps.
Okay. So I read that you spent some time in Suriname. Tell me about the migration from Guyana to Suriname.
Yeah. Well, before Suriname, I was I just finished attending New Amsterdam Technical Institute.
Okay.
And I happened to had a visa to go and study at Radio College in Canada.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so I ended up going to Canada, and then I overstayed my visa, and I went in to get it renewed, and you know what? There was no sympathy whatsoever. They just deported me.
Yeah, you overstayed your
Yeah,
visa.
I overstayed, and they just stamped me out, and so they told me I can stay in the country 2 months, and then I need to leave, and like a fool, I went and leave. And I finally grew up, and I said, oh my God, what have I done? So
So in 2 months, you had to go back to Guyana.
No, well, I know I stayed for about 3 years in Toronto before I went back.
Okay.
And so when I went back to Guyana, then I happened to get a job in Linden. So I did work at the aluminum plant.
Let me ask you a question. Does Linden really have blue water?
No, I never seen blue water.
Okay, because every time I go to Guyana, I'm like, the only thing I miss is the blue water. And I know the last time I went to Guyana, I got one of those directories, and it said Linden had blue water.
Maybe they have lakes somewhere, but
Yeah, it was a lake.
the only place I've seen was the Demerara River. And when I was working in Linden, once in a while I would go up with some friends up the river, and we used to go into the Amerindian community. And for me, that was a great experience to be able to see how the Amerindians lived.
Yes.
And so that was fascinating.
But they don't have blue water there.
But I never seen blue
No,
water.
I've never seen blue water.
After I came back from Canada, I was able to get a job up in Linden. It took me 5 days to get to pass this interview.
5 days.
5 days. I even slept at the Salvation Army in Linden. I was at the marketplace wondering where I'll stay the next day. And I'm a lucky person. I always run into somebody that picked me up, and I was able to survive the 5 days interview, and I finally got the job.
You got the job.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and so I worked with the company for 1 year. I was supposed to get the scholarship. I didn't get it, so that was when I decided to take a trip, a 2-week trip to Suriname, see what it was like. And on the 10th day when I was in Suriname, I I saw a guy playing guitar on the side of the street, and I went and, you know, like me, I always went up and talked to somebody. So I started talking to him, and he said, what you're doing in Suriname? And I said, well, I'm here, and if I can find a job, it would be great. And so, not knowing he was a musician by night, and he was an architect by day. And so, he brought a piece of paper and said, hey, could you write all the things you can do?
Mm-hmm.
Took it to his company, and the next day I rapped on his door, and he said, hey, they want you to come for an interview tomorrow. I went for the interview, and the next thing you know, they took my passport and gave me a 3-year visa to work in the country.
So Rory, you're really lucky.
Yeah.
You really, really are lucky. Let me ask you a quick question. When you went over to Suriname, did you go on the regular boat or you went backtrack?
I went on a regular boat.
Oh, okay.
I paid my 25 guilders.
You paid your 25. Okay. So now, when you were in Suriname, you got this job for 3 years. Did you also play music there?
A little bit. Actually, I did play harmonica once in a while for a gospel band. There was a couple of people I met one night, and I was just curious I wanted to play. I always felt this innate hunger, to play music, but I've never had any kind of a training or anything like that. So, I never considered myself like being an artist or anything of that sort. But I would just like volunteer to just play once in a while, and so that was as far as my, my musical abilities when I was in Suriname.
Okay, awesome. Well, Rory, we're going to take a break here for a commercial. We're also going to hear a little bit about your music. I'm dying to hear you play.
I pulled into Nazareth. I was feeling about 8:30. I just need some place where I can lay my head. Hey, mister, can you tell me where a man might find a bed? He grinned and shook my hand, and no was all he said. Take a load of Fanny, take a load for free. Take a load of Fanny, and put the load right on me. So I packed up my bags, I was looking for a place to hide, when I saw Carmen and the devil walking side by side. Hey Carmen, come on, let's go downtown. She said, I gotta go, but my friends can stick around. Take a load of Fanny, take a load for free. Take a load of Fanny, yeah. Put the load right on me. Next song I like to play is a blues song that I've written, and it's on the new album, and this is called Judgment Day. I've been waiting for 2 long years. You kept me waiting, drowned in my tears. You change your mind from day to day. I say if I'm waiting on Judgment Day, you look so fine, love with you on the telephone line. You want to wine and dine, you want done my love so true.
Well, Rory, you definitely played tons of different genres of music. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure our audiences did too. So let's go back and talk about how you now came to the United States. How'd you end up in Texas?
Let's see. Long story.
Okay.
I lived in, well, after I was in Suriname, I stayed for about 4 years, 4.5 years, and then I immigrated up to New York.
Oh, so you lived in New York?
Yeah, so I went
Okay.
up to New York. My aunt was in New York, so I
Queens?
in Queens,
Okay.
and so that was the my first exposure of being in the United States. So I was living with my aunt. I was working in a factory, packing boxes for $3.35 an hour, and
Sounds like what a lot of us go through when we first come here.
oh yes, and there are times I said, oh my God, I left my great job and here am I, packing boxes. So I was doing that for about a year, and then finally I got a job up at Fifth Avenue at Board of Goodman, and so I was working there, and so that was much more pleasant to work. And so while I was working at Board of Goodman, I decided to start taking some classes at New York University. I was in telecommunications
Okay.
analysis. I never knew what telecommunications was. The name just sounds great, and I just registered to take classes in telecommunications. And so at the same time, while I was studying, my wife was from Houston, Texas. That's how I ended up
In Texas.
yeah, that's how I ended up being in Texas.
Okay.
I happened to meet somebody on the streets of New York they had a street fair, and one thing led to the other,
It was love at first sight.
I don't know. I don't think I could.
Well, there was something special that you followed her to Texas.
Yeah, well, something, and so one morning, I used to drive my car for hours with no destination, because all of a sudden, after even losing my job, all of a sudden it becomes an issue. At first it didn't, and after this accident, all of a sudden I can't stop my mind, and I was driving one morning and I came home. I picked up the guitar and I wrote the title track of the album, Cling and You Die.
Cling and You Die. So that's from your life experience.
Yeah, it just depends how people take that title. I was afraid to release that title. I even wanted to cancel that song because it have a lot of different. It depends how people look at the song.
Meanings.
Yeah, but it's a paradox of attachment. And what it really means is that it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be close to people, but you should never cling to something to the point that if you lose it, that you'll die inside. And so I felt like that was my experience, and so that was how Cling and You Die was created. And within about 2 months, I wrote the entire album. And that's the new album coming out. Actually, I received the albums today.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I actually really like the title, Cling and You Die. It's true. I think it's very important in life that you are non-attached. You don't have attachments or expectations, because that's when you have disappointments in life. I mean, that's my personal feeling.
Yeah, it has many meanings.
All right, but let's go back to now. You went to Texas. You started your music world about 4 years ago?
Uh-huh.
How did that happen?
My musical world journey began about 4 years ago.
Okay.
I happened to join a band from the Unitarian Church called the Blue Notes.
Okay.
And I just made a joke with the guys, and I said, hey, you guys need a harmonica player. And they said, yeah, come on board, man, So I went and I started to play, and I had no idea what I was playing. I had no idea what the blues was, and so I kept fooling around and trying to figure it out. And then finally, I started to feel this music where it is, and so I would play with the guys from time to time. And around the same time, I joined. I became a member for the Houston Blues Society, and I used to volunteer for this organization, and I used to meet a lot of blues musicians.
Okay.
And
Exciting.
and I go to the clubs and I would volunteer, and it was exciting. And the president of the society, Sandy Hickey, she's a heck of a musician too.
Okay.
And she got me to to be on the board of the Houston Blues Society.
Very impressive. Now,
Yeah.
you don't have any training. This is just by sound and ear. That
Yeah,
you've
right.
learned.
I play strictly by what I feel and by sound and ear and write, what I feel. You can find the CD on cdbaby.com, and you can purchase the album. It's for $10 on CD Baby. You can also find it on iTunes, and you can purchase by copies. The new album will be on cdbaby.com this week, and also within the next couple of weeks you can find it as a digital download on iTunes and Amazon.
What are the future plans for you, Rory?
My future plans, I like to sell 1 million copies of Cling and You Die, and so I can record the third album.
Okay.
Actually, I have about 5 songs already for the third album, and I would like to record some cover song on the next album, because I like to do Bob Dylan. I like to do a song by a rock band called The Band. I would like to do a Beatles song,
Okay.
and I like to do a Leonard Skinner song. So I find that these people have written songs, and there is this song that they have written that I find that it was written for me, and so I would like to record some of these songs as well,
Okay.
and also to write a book.
About your life journey and your experiences.
Yeah, and there were so many things.
So many things that I'm sure have influenced your life to help you write your music.
Yeah, maybe you can be my editor.
We'll talk about that when you move to New York. Well, Rory, it was great having you down here on Let's Talk with Lakshmee. I wish you all the luck in the world. I can't wait until the third album comes out. And let's see if you're going to play until I find a place.
Yeah, well, actually, it was a pleasure being here and meeting with you and chatting, and looking forward to, talking again. You've been an inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you, Rory.
Okay, thank you.
Let's talk with Lakshmee. Here we go now, here we go now. Let's talk with Lakshmee. Bring the artists, bring the dancers. Let's talk with Lakshmee. Again now.